everyone, it's Shari Carroll here. I'm back to share something very special with you. Hero has just introduced the new boutique stamps, and I've been fortunate enough to design a couple trees for you, and I'm going to show you just a really quick little tag. I'm starting off with a piece of craft cardstock, and I have my tag die here, and I have creased my paper at this fold in the center. And I'll fold that over and just go ahead and place my die onto the paper, and it will cut just above that fold. Okay, so I've gone ahead and ran this through my die cut machine, and here I'm just releasing my paper from the die, clean off the edges a little bit, and as you can see, the top is a fold instead of two pieces of cut paper. And now for the very special part, you get to see Shari's trees. And these are titled Shari's Tree number 1, number 2, and number 3. And for my little tag, I'll be using Shari's Tree number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare my paper for embossing, and I'm using my anti-static bag here and just rubbing this all around. I will be using regular Versamark ink, and I'll just go ahead and tap this onto the stamp. And I'm really proud of these stamps. It's like the first stamp I've ever designed. And this one has little fine lines that you can still color in, and they're really detailed. So here I'm just pressing this onto the little tag. I want it kind of off-centered just so it's a little bit different than the usual. And there you can see where the ink is sitting on that craft paper. Next, I'll go ahead and get out my white embossing powder, and I'll drop my tree into my powder, and I'll spoon this off onto the tree, and it really picks it up well. And I'm using the really fine detail or regular white Hero Arts embossing powder. And so next I can go ahead and get my heat gun out and go ahead and heat set this. I've decided to color in the tree with my markers here, and I have my memento markers, and they are rich cocoa, cantaloupe, and bamboo leaves. And I have a piece of acetate here, and I'll just be scribbling my marker onto the acetate, and I'll be using a water brush to pick up the color and paint it onto my little tree here. So I'm using the Tim Holtz water brush because I really like the detail. If you don't have one, you could certainly use a paintbrush with a little bit of water and just pick up the color and go ahead and paint in the lines. So I'm going to paint each of these lines in, and as you can see, the ink just flows in between the embossing. And I've decided, because this tree is a little more whimsical looking, that it might look better if I just kind of color outside the lines as well. So here I'm going back over and just adding a little bit more color. So next I'm using the cantaloupe marker and scribbling onto my acetate. And before I go to paint again, I want to go ahead and clean off the tip of my water brush, and I'm just using a towel. And now I'll be picking up the cantaloupe paint, or the cantaloupe marker, and painting into the star. As you can see, the star looks a little bit darker because it's soaking in the water. So once that dries out a little bit, it will be a nice yellow. And once again, I'll clean off my brush between colors, and now I'll get ready to use the rich cocoa. And again, I'll scribble this onto the acetate. And I'll go ahead and paint in the little stem pieces. So I'll just pick up a little bit of color and just into those little pieces that are just in between the branches of the tree. Now that my tree is all dry, you can see the star is quite a bit lighter, and I'm using the Pool Mixed Accents to go ahead and bling out my tree. So I'll just be scattering these all over my tree kind of randomly, and I'm picking out gemstones of different colors, and then I'll do pearls mixed in and kind of scatter them all around. One of the final touches I want to do is to add some frosted lace stickles to the star, just to give it a little bit more sparkliness. And so I'm just adding this on just within the white embossing. And here's the final look at my little tag. I've added a little bit of pool paper to the top with a twine bow, and the detail of the gems. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at the boutique stamps by Shari Carroll. Thanks for watching.